All right, let's jump right into this explainer. Today, we're unpacking a really fascinating breakthrough in how we actually use artificial intelligence in high-stakes enterprise environments. We are tackling a huge critical AI failure head-on, the tendency for these systems to generate incredibly fluent but structurally hollow text. And more importantly, we're looking at how the energetic paradigm, or EP, has already solved this. They've built and achieved operational capability called state and path representation. And I want to be super clear right up front. This isn't some philosophical concept drawn up on a whiteboard for the future. It's a proven, functioning reality that is completely changing how AI operates in the enterprise today. Here's our roadmap for today. We're going to cover 1. The AI structural weakness, 2. State and path representation, 3. Demand for reliable AI, 4. Execution through structured operations, 5. Scalability across enterprise systems, and finally, 6. An investable EP capability. Okay, starting off with Section 1, the AI structural weakness, or what we like to call the illusion of competence. Think about it like this. When your ordinary AI spits out a plausible, beautifully written response, it almost completely fails to answer one vital operational question. Where is the system right now? And what paths are actually blocked? Because it totally lacks this structural awareness, it just generates text. And in complex enterprise work, that leads to massive drift, huge contradictions, and totally unsupported claims. It's essentially just guessing with supreme confidence. And this right here perfectly illustrates the contrast. Uncontrolled generation might sound fluent and plausible, sure, but relying on that kind of loose reasoning is a massive liability when the stakes are high. Structured intelligence, on the other hand, is auditable, it's correctable, it's highly reliable simply because it's disciplined by structure. It provides the rigorous navigational map that human operators actually need to get real work done safely. Moving right along to Section 2, State and Path Representation. This is the operational fix. So here's our core definition of state and path representation, and I really want to emphasize the word achieved here. Like I said earlier, we are not talking about a future roadmap item. This is an operational EP function happening right now. It explicitly forces the system to show where it is, what paths are available to it, which paths are blocked, and exactly what transitions are possible. How does it actually do that? Well, EP separates complex AI work into 7 very specific structural boundaries. We're talking about mapping out the current state and the desired state, explicitly identifying the available paths versus the block paths, setting transition conditions, planning for failure transitions, and establishing stability conditions. By enforcing these exact boundaries, EP completely transforms the task. It goes from mere text generation to highly controlled, step-by-step execution. Which brings us to Section 3, Demand for Reliable AI, and the very real market pain driving all of this. Real demand typically only appears when a repeated failure starts getting expensive. We've all seen the crazy headlines, right? AI confidently hallucinating fake legal cases in front of a federal judge, or some customer service bot legally binding a company to a massive discount it wasn't authorized to give. As AI moves away from just being a fun, casual chatbot and into serious workflows, the cost of uncontrolled generation literally skyrockets. The market isn't just asking for structure, it is paying for the lack of it. Just look at what serious enterprises actually need right now. Decision makers, corporate lawyers, engineers. They do not need more persuasive text. They need proof. They need outputs they can audit, correct, and reuse over and over. They need work that survives rigorous expert review without drifting off into strange contradictions. This means the market is actively demanding this exact EP capability to enforce boundaries and fundamentally reduce their business risk. Let's pivot to Section 4, Execution through Structured Operations. How do we actually prove this function works? Execution is where the rubber meets the road. This happens when EP activates 4 exact steps inside real-world tasks, like proposals, agreements, or governance models. First, you transform the input into a crystal-clear object of work. Second, you make the entire reasoning path totally inspectable. No more hiding behind smooth language. Third, the output is evaluated against its structure, not its writing style. And fourth, when failures happen, and they will, they aren't just swept under the rug. They're classified to improve the very next execution. It exposes hidden contradictions and creates a totally transparent workflow. Next up, Section 5, Scalability across enterprise systems. We are talking about the repeatable module. When we look at where EP actually scales, we're looking at major domains like decision support tools, workflow automation, policy execution, and enterprise copilots. Now, obviously, the surface content shifts drastically across these areas, right? A corporate turnaround plan looks very different from a document intelligence copilot. But here's the key. The underlying structural logic of state and path representation remains completely identical. It acts as a universal standard, controlling failures wherever complex AI work is deployed. And honestly, this is a massive takeaway for anyone looking at enterprise AI. Scalable value comes from a repeatable mechanism, not isolated moments of consulting brilliance. Because this exact EP function can be so easily embedded into checklists, into software modules, and agent policies, it proves a direct, disciplined, and highly repeatable path to true enterprise productization. All right, finally, Section 6, an investable EP capability. Let's get to the verdict. This matrix right here ties the whole traction triad together nicely. For demand, the market proof is the incredibly expensive failure of unstructured AI, which EP fixes with reliable workflows for high-stakes review. For execution, the market desperately needs inspectable reasoning paths, and EP applies this by structuring proposals and governance. And for scalability, the market needs repeatable modules, which EP fulfills by embedding this logic right into enterprise copilots and agents. It's a complete, undeniable ecosystem of value. I really want you to take this to heart. State and path representation is investable because it converts a recurring AI failure into a repeatable EP capability that proves demand, execution, and scalability. EP should absolutely not be evaluated as just another cool content tool or a fancy writing assistant. You have to look at it as a system of functions, literally vital operational infrastructure, that makes AI work controlled, deductive, and actually operationally useful. So I want to leave you with this one critical question. If your enterprise AI work continues to scale up, can you afford a system that generates answers without representing its structural path? As you deploy AI into deeper, much higher value workflows, you have a choice to make. Are you going to settle for the illusion of competence, or are you ready to invest in structured execution? Think about that as you evaluate your own enterprise AI systems. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and keep questioning the structure behind the intelligence.